The first thing Daniel noticed was the laughter. Not the friendly kind that drifts across playgrounds or spills out of coffee shops on a sunny afternoon. This laughter was sharp, cruel, the kind meant to make someone feel small. Daniel Carter slowed his steps as he crossed the quiet street toward the small neighborhood park. The October wind carried the sound again, high school voices mocking, careless. And beneath it, a girl's trembling voice. "Please, just give it back." Daniel's jaw tightened. He had heard that tone before, in war zones, in refugee camps, in places where people realized too late that the world had suddenly turned against them. Without thinking, he changed direction and walked toward the sound. Near the edge of the park, 3 teenage boys surrounded. A girl who couldn't have been more than 12 or 13. Her backpack was on the ground. One of the boys held her notebook above his head while the others laughed. "Come on," one of them sneered. "Jump for it." The girl's cheeks were red, and her eyes glistened with tears. She was trying very hard not to let fall. Daniel felt something cold settle in his chest. He had seen grown men behave with more dignity in the middle of gunfire. He stepped forward. "Hey." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed. The boys turned. Daniel stood there in a worn brown jacket, his hands tucked calmly in his pockets. His posture was relaxed, but something about him made the air shift. Years in the army had a way of doing that. One of the boys rolled his eyes. "Mind your business, old man." Daniel walked closer. "Give the girl her notebook." The tallest boy scoffed. "Or what?" Daniel studied him for a long moment. Not angry, just steady. The way a storm watches the ocean before it moves. "Or you'll spend the rest of your day explaining to your parents why the police are calling them." That made them pause. Teenagers feared embarrassment more than punishment. Still, the tall boy tossed the notebook onto the ground with a shrug. "Whatever. She's weird anyway." They shoved past Daniel, muttering insults as they disappeared down the sidewalk. Silence settled over the park. The girl quickly picked up her notebook and stuffed it into her backpack, avoiding Daniel's eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded too fast. "I'm fine." He had raised a daughter long enough to recognize that answer. "You don't look fine." She hesitated. Then the tears finally came. Not loud sobs, just quiet ones. Daniel crouched slightly so he wasn't towering over her. "Hey," he said softly. "You didn't do anything wrong." She wiped her face with her sleeve. "They do that every day." "Why?" She shrugged helplessly. "Because I'm new, and I don't talk much." Daniel nodded. He understood that too. Silence was something people often punished. After a moment, he pointed toward a bench nearby. "Mind if we sit for a minute?" She hesitated, studying him carefully. Children had instincts adults often ignored. Finally, she nodded. They sat. The wind rustled through the golden leaves above them. Daniel noticed her backpack was heavy and worn. "You walk home through here every day?" he asked. "Yes. That's not happening anymore." She blinked. "What?" "I pick up my daughter from school around this time." "Same direction," he shrugged casually. "Looks like you've got a walking partner now." She stared at him. "You'd do that?" "Of course." Her voice grew small. "Why?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Because once upon a time someone helped me when I needed it." That answer seemed to settle something inside her. "I'm Lily," she said quietly. "Daniel." Over the next few weeks, a simple routine formed. Daniel would finish his shift at the auto repair shop, walk to the park, and wait on the bench while Lily came down the path from school. They talked about small things, her math homework, his daughter Sophie's soccer games. Sometimes they walked in silence, which Lily seemed to prefer. The bullies stopped appearing. Word had spread quickly that Lily had a quiet, broad-shouldered escort who looked like he had wrestled tanks for fun. One afternoon, Lily asked, "Were you really a soldier?" Daniel chuckled. "Is it that obvious?" "You stand like one. Guess old habits stick." "Did you fight in wars?" "Yes." "Were you scared?" "All the time." She looked surprised. "But soldiers aren't supposed to be scared." Daniel looked out across the park. "Courage isn't about not being scared," he said softly. "It's about doing the right thing even when you are." Lily thought about that for the rest of the walk. Meanwhile, Daniel's life remained simple. He worked long hours fixing engines. He raised Sophie alone after his wife passed away 3 years earlier. Some nights were heavy. But moments like these, quiet walks, a shy smile from Lily, Sophie laughing over dinner, made the world feel a little lighter. Then one rainy Thursday afternoon, Lily didn't appear. Daniel waited on the bench longer than usual. 30 minutes, 40. Finally, he walked the route alone, scanning every corner of the park. Nothing. A knot formed in his chest. The next day, she was there again. But something was different. A sleek black car waited near the park entrance. 2 men in suits stood beside it. Daniel noticed Lily glancing nervously toward them. "Friends of yours?" he asked. She sighed. "No." Before she could say more, one of the men approached. "Lily," he said firmly, "your father asked that you come straight to the car." She looked embarrassed. "This is Daniel," she said quietly. The man nodded politely but stiffly. "Sir." Daniel felt the shift immediately. Professional, watchful, security. As Lily climbed into the car, she leaned out the window. "I'll see you tomorrow, okay?" But tomorrow never came, or the day after. A week passed. Daniel told himself families moved all the time. Still, the empty bench felt heavier than it should. Then one afternoon, while Daniel worked under the hood of a pickup truck, a black SUV pulled into the repair shop. Another followed behind it. Daniel wiped his hands on a rag as 3 people stepped out, 2 bodyguards. And between them, a tall man in an expensive coat. Beside him stood Lily. Her face lit up when she saw Daniel. "There he is!" She ran forward before the guards could stop her. Daniel blinked in surprise. "Hey, kid." The tall man approached slowly. His expression was serious but not unfriendly. "You must be Daniel Carter." "That's me." The man extended his hand. "My name is Michael Bennett." Daniel shook it. The name sounded familiar. Then it hit him. Bennett Technologies, one of the largest tech companies in the country. The man standing in front of him wasn't just a father. He was a billionaire CEO. Michael glanced at Lily. "She's told me a lot about you." Daniel frowned slightly. "Hope it was good." Michael's voice softened. "For weeks, my daughter refused to tell us why she insisted on walking through that park every day." He paused. "Yesterday, we finally learned about the bullying and about the man who protected her." Lily looked at the ground shyly. Michael continued. "You helped her without knowing who she was." Daniel shrugged. "She was a kid who needed help." "That's exactly the point." Silence hung in the garage. Then Michael said something unexpected. "I'd like to repay your kindness." Daniel immediately shook his head. "Not necessary." "I insist." "You don't need to." Michael studied him carefully. "Why?" Daniel glanced at Lily. "Because kindness isn't a transaction." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Lily smiled. "I told you," she said to her father. Michael exhaled slowly. Finally, he smiled too. "All right," he said. "Then maybe we do something else." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Michael gestured around the small repair shop. "What if we help expand this place? New equipment. Better pay for your workers. Scholarships for veterans who want to learn the trade." Daniel blinked. "That's a lot." "It's not charity," Michael said. "It's an investment in the kind of man I want my daughter to grow up respecting." Lily beamed. Daniel looked down at the grease on his hands, then back at the father and daughter standing in front of him. Slowly, he nodded. "All right," he said, "but only if Lily still walks through the park sometimes." She grinned. "Deal." And as the autumn wind rustled the leaves outside the garage, Daniel realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness, a moment of courage, a quiet walk home, a stranger choosing to care, could change lives in ways no one ever expected.